getting organized, get busy. I used to hire someone to come clean my house just mostly for the dishes. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Igho. Welcome back to Igho Initiative, where we create self-care systems to help us live our best lives and support our communities without sacrificing our health. If this is your first time on my channel, again, welcome. My name is Igho. I am a poet, community educator, wellness consultant, and owner of this platform. My chief aim is to support people with prioritizing their wellness and to be an example and proof of just how easy it can be to do so on a daily basis. If you've been here for a while, welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday chat. Today, I'm going to be talking about the last system in the series, the cycle of self-development. I've been sharing different systems to help you prioritize your wellness on a regular basis in order to manage stress and maintain peace in your life, and most of all, avoid burnout. So we are on the fifth and last system, the home life systems. I'm also going to be sharing a little bit of behind the scenes of what my current home life system looks like and what my actual home looks like. I'm going to show you snippets of it because I'm going through a decluttering process myself, and so I wanted to bring y'all along the ride again because example and proof is what I like to be. And so I want to show you snippets of what the before is going to look like, and of course document the rest of the process along the way. So let's hop right into it. To recap, we've talked about 4 different systems. Today is the 5th one. So we've talked about your self-care systems, your communication systems, your support systems, and then last week I shared time and energy management systems, and I shared tips for each of those systems, how to start thinking about curating your own system. All of our systems are going to look different because obviously we're different people with different ideas and different goals, and so I really just share general tips for you to kind of plug in what is necessary and what works for your lifestyle. A quote that I really enjoy, this is more so an African proverb, if you will. This is something that I always heard growing up. It is that charity begins at home, and what that really means to me is that you start with yourself with pretty much everything. You take care of yourself first before you learn how to take care of other people. You love yourself first before you learn how to love other people. Of course, there's always relearning in the process of all of these things, but it usually starts from within. It usually starts with you. And a more kind of practical and literal sense of what that means is that if you want to be kind, if you want to be loving, if you want to be nurturing, that starts with how you're doing that in your own home. Home could be like your physical environment, but also within yourself, because it usually starts from the inside out. And so for me, it's really important to have a home life that is conducive to my wellness in order for me to be on here sharing these tips with you, in order for me to be a wellness consultant and be a support for other people in terms of prioritizing their wellness. It starts within my own home as well, and what it looks like for me to curate a space and a sense of peace within my home in order for me to be quote unquote preaching that to other people. And so I want you to think about your home life systems as a foundation of sorts in terms of how you are connecting with the world and how you're connecting with your communities. It should start with what it looks like in your home. And if your home is not conducive to your well-being, then you can't really be of support to anyone else or even yourself. And so this is a really important system. Even though we're looking at it last, it's actually a really important system to put into place so that you are well supported, well taken care of, and able to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and your communities without stressing out about something as simple as like your home being the way you want it to be. It's very hard to create the life that you want, a life that you enjoy, to grow through self-development, as I've been talking about over the last few weeks, is already a journey that isn't going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be an easy thing. And so making sure that you are not adding undue stress to yourself by having a disorganized home, or just in general, a home that isn't conducive to your well-being, is just kind of working backwards and going against your own self. And so it's really important that you're creating a space within your home life that is conducive, again, to your well-being. You're going to hear me saying that multiple times throughout this video to really drive that point home. It needs to be a home in a space that is conducive to your well-being. So your home doesn't have to look like my home. My home doesn't have to look like the next person's home. As long as it is conducive to my well-being, it is my home. As long as it's your home and it's conducive to your well-being, then it's a-okay the way it is. So take that how you will. As usual, let me paint the picture a little bit better in terms of what is the problem, what's the issue here. A lot of people, they can't function or can't think straight in a messy home but there are subtle ways that we eventually start to clutter our own lives. And hopefully the systems I've been talking about throughout have been supportive of you to kind of declutter, whether it be your self-care and trying to do all of the things that you see online. You can declutter in that way, or it could be your language, auditing your language so that it's not going against you type thing. The same way physical clutter in your home may go against the lifestyle that you're trying to create. And so thinking about it in that way is really helpful for you to get serious and get clear on what your home life needs to look like, or just kind of simply messiness. Like when you go into a kitchen that is dirty, there's dishes everywhere, you don't necessarily want to cook. So think about it in that way. If your home isn't conducive to your well-being, then you're not necessarily focused on prioritizing your wellness, because you're either busy cleaning your home all the time, or you're just hating your home in general, and then you don't want to be at home whenever you're at home, and when you're at work then you don't want to be at work type thing. And then add on top of that that we are all experiencing or have just come out of, some states and some countries are fully open. Some spaces like in Toronto, we're not fully open. Yes, we are a little bit, but we just went through a global panorama. So we were forced to be at home for a very long time. And a lot of people started to figure out that they didn't actually like their home. They didn't like the people that they live with. So it's really important that we are very mindful of how we are curating our home space, our home life, so that it's conducive to our well-being, but also through anything that life sort of throws at us, through anything that happens like a global panorama. So making sure that overall it supports who you are becoming, who you want to be, and how you want to show up in the world. If you find yourself always rushing to clean up your space when somebody comes over, I've definitely been in that situation, but not to worry if that is who you are, or you're the type of person who just can't function when things are cluttered. Or maybe you have a problem with hoarding and you're trying to go into the minimalist lifestyle, or you just want to stay on top of being tidy because you are generally a tidy person, but maybe you are recently a new mom, or now you went from a mom of one to a mom of two or three, or you have just really young kids and you're just trying to figure out, how do I keep this space clean? I need it to be clean. This is all frustrating. If any or all of those things apply to your life, then definitely stick around for the tips I'm going to be sharing. They're going to be broad, but again, if you plug in the things that are necessary in terms of the way that you live your lifestyle, then you're able to create your own home life system that, again, is conducive to your well-being and not just supports your day-to-day life, but whatever major crises or major stressors that are included on top of that. My home life systems, I've been curating this even when I wasn't aware that I was curating it for a very, very long time, ever since I lived with my father. So when I moved out and having different roommates, I've been able to accumulate some of the things. Okay, this works for me. This is what I don't like. This is what I want. That is important, but more so being intentional about how all of those pieces come together, those things that I've thought about in terms of what I like and don't like, some of my own habits and my routines, all of those things are now part of my home life system. So the tips I'm going to be sharing with you shortly are going to be you kind of organizing some of those things and putting them into place in order to create your own home life system. So without further ado, here are 3 tips to help you create your own home life systems. And then I'm going to show you how those things kind of show up in my own home. First tip, which I haven't mentioned in a while, is to revisit your be, do, have formula. If you haven't watched the very start of the series, I think it was the first video where I talked about being a good student of your self-development journey. I talked about a formula that my coach shared with me, which is that you have to become the person that you want to become and then start doing the things that are required of that person in order to have the things or the lifestyle that come along with that. The running example I've been using is entrepreneurship. So you have to become an entrepreneur. You have to start thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur and then think about what is required of an entrepreneur. What does an entrepreneur do? Then you kind of acquire some of the things that come along with being an entrepreneur in that way. So revisit your be, do, have. What was the thing, or who was the person you decided you wanted to become? And what are some of the things that are required of that person that is going to also filter into your home life system? So for me, as someone who is an entrepreneur, who owns a business, but also was a student briefly, obviously when the panorama hit, I was doing all of those things from home. So I had to get very clear on what my schedule looked like and making sure that my physical space was conducive to my actual schedule, making sure that I have a space that is my office. I had a space that is well lit for me to record videos. Things of that nature became a part of my home life systems. And so you want to think about your be, do, have formula and what are some things that you are already working on currently, and then how can you make your home life reflective of those things so that it can fully support you. You want to also envision the kind of home that your ideal self is likely to be in. So depending on what your business or your goals are or what you like, you want to envision yourself as that thing already at the like most established version of yourself. And then what does your home look like? Maybe like sit and do a visual meditation of like a day in the life. So like you're waking up, what do your sheets feel like? What are you waking up to? What does your room look like? What does your bathroom look like? Make sure that you write it down. If you're a more visual person, maybe create a digital vision board. Like there's so many apps to do that. You can use Pinterest, obviously, but even on Instagram, you can do little saves, and then in your saves, you can organize those saves and create like a home life board. I have a home life board on Instagram myself, and little things that inspire me, or when it comes to like plants and stuff, I like look at the way people set up their plants or different pots that they use or things of that nature, like how they decorate and organize their space. So I save some of those videos. So if you're someone that is visual and you like some visual cues and reminders, you can do that meditation, think about what your ideal self, what you enjoy, and start to pull those pieces together and create that vision board. And once you have that clear idea, then it's easier for you to start either upgrading your space in the way that you want it to be, or using what you already have and kind of organizing it in a way that looks as close to what you've envisioned as possible. Speaking of organizing, the next tip is to get organized. Of course, I was going to throw something like that in there, especially when it comes to a physical space. I'm someone who likes planning, I like things in order. So that is what you want to start doing. Once you have a clear idea of what you want your home to look like, then you need to start getting organized, get busy. What are some things that you already like the way that they are, so you want to leave them that way? You want to create a schedule to maintain it looking in that way. Or maybe there's some home improvements that you do want to make, and then start kind of getting organized with like, what are the things I want to change in my home? What is my budget going to look like? What is the timeline going to look like? Putting these pieces together. So again, start with what is already in my home, because you want to start from a space of gratitude. What do I already have, and how can I maximize it to be as close to the vision that I have for my home as possible? And then if there's little tweaks and improvements that you do need to make, then make notes of those improvements, and then give yourself a timeline, give yourself a budget for what is reasonable for you to make some of those improvements, and so on and so forth. And I mentioned earlier, for the things that are already in your home that can be either maneuvered in a certain way or edited, or you can leave as is, you also want to create a schedule to maintain those things so that you continue to enjoy how those things look and feel in your home. So creating a cleaning schedule, a tidying schedule that is, again, conducive to your life, and making sure that you are maintaining the things that you already have, the things that you already enjoy about your home. It could look like once a week I clean this part of my home, and you can kind of rotate the days for when you clean. So for instance, I clean on Fridays and Sundays for myself. So Friday just before the Sabbath, and then Sunday to like prepare for the week. I do laundry either on the Sunday or the Monday, and then I do laundry again either on Thursday or Friday. And then for food wise, I meal prep. I've shared all these things before, but kind of think about what days you are doing what to maintain different parts of your home. And maybe you have even a more extensive schedule in terms of deep cleaning. So you want to get organized with all of those pieces, not only to improve your space, but to maintain what you already like and have and enjoy about your space. And then the last tip is to invest in the support that you need. So In case you haven't noticed that, the support systems is one of the systems that I've talked about. None of my tips are like you have to do it all by yourself, because the point is we want to avoid overwhelm, we want to avoid burnout. So when you get into the space of wanting to zhuzh up your place or improve your home life systems, this is definitely not something that you want to do by yourself. So invest in support. If you obviously live with other people, pull them into this home life improvement that you're trying to make it fun, make it worth their while, give people incentives. Like if you have children, this is a great way to teach them about responsibility, of course, and maybe even like finances and accountability, and maybe kind of give them some sort of like allowance in exchange for that, or give them extra privileges in exchange for some of the cleaning that they're doing. Not that they need to get something in return, but just to kind of incentivize them and show them the beauty of a value exchange. So they're supporting you with something and you're giving something that they find valuable as well. They are being themselves of value and you're doing a value exchange. Really, that's really what it is. And so thinking of it in that way, pulling your children in. If you have roommates, you kind of discussing what your expectations are. And then even with getting organized with maintaining and cleaning stuff, you can have some sort of schedule with your roommates, and you can also invest in help. So some of the deep cleaning stuff you can outsource and delegate. Outsource the things that you maybe don't enjoy doing or don't have the time to do, or is like labor intensive. And so like investing in a cleaning lady once a month or something, or once every 3 weeks, however that works out for you. Or maybe your kids are the cleaning person again, and you're still providing that value exchange for them. So think about what works for your budget, what works for your lifestyle. Some of the things that you don't enjoy doing, maybe delegate them, outsource. You could also change your mind about how you feel about certain activities. Fun fact, I used to say that dishes were the bane of my existence. I used to complain about doing the dishes all the time. And of course, that was my reality. If you watch the communications systems video, you know that I talked about auditing your language. And sometimes we say things that are actually against our goals and against the things that we're doing. Yes, technically, I didn't enjoy doing dishes, but the fact that I kept talking about that, my subconscious was just like, all right, dishes, dishes, dishes. And that's all I saw. I'm just like, I feel like I'm washing dishes all the time. And so you want to either outsource and delegate those things so you can stop complaining about it, or just change your mind about it. And so for me, I changed my mind about the dishes. I decided that I enjoy doing dishes. I kept telling that to myself. I will listen to music that I really enjoy while I'm doing the dishes. I'll make it like engaging and fun for myself, because outsourcing was no longer a priority for me. I used to hire someone to come clean my house just mostly for the dishes. My goals have shifted. My goals have definitely changed. That is not a priority for me to be spending money on. And so I decided that I was going to change my mind about how much I love doing dishes. And so that is what I did. To recap, the first tip for you to creating your own home life systems is to revisit your be, do, have formula and envision what type of home your ideal self would want to be in or is in. And then the next thing is to get organized, create yourself schedule, routine, and make a list of little home improvements that you want to make or the things that you already enjoy about your home, and then creating a schedule to maintain it. And then the last thing is to invest in supports. Delegate and outsource the tasks that you don't like or you don't enjoy or are labor intensive. Include the people that are in your home in that. Make it worth their while. Make sure that you are doing a value exchange. That is a wrap for today's video. I hope that these tips supported you and that you got some ideas from the way I structure my home and some of the routines that I have in place that I talked about. And of course, if you want a little bit more, you can join my Instagram tribe. I'm over at Igho Initiative. I share more daily self-care habits and routines and ideas around what it looks like to prioritize your wellness on a regular basis. And of course, if you just want to be a part of the tribe, all you got to do is subscribe. Make sure that you are staying hydrated, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Peace and love.